As a community, we should be outraged. This is not okay. This is a stark reminder that a devastating impact of gun violence in our city.
Condemning a brazen act of gun violence in Hamilton. A 21-year-old Mohawk College student from India struck and killed by a stray bullet while waiting for a bus last night. Good evening. Police say the victim was an innocent bystander standing across the street when she was hit in the chest by a bullet.
Investigators now searching for suspects that were involved in a confrontation between two vehicles in the area before fleeing the scene. CTV's John Musselman is live in Hamilton with the latest on the investigation. John.
Well, Andrea, it is a devastating story. That young woman was just standing at the bus stop behind me there, waiting to be picked up when the gunfire erupted and she was hit in the chest. Hamilton police say a gunman in the passenger seat of a black SUV fired multiple shots at two people inside a white sedan. It happened near this small plaza around 7:30 last night near Upper James and South Bend Road. Standing across the street at a bus stop was 21-year-old Harsimrat Randhawa, a student at Mohawk College. She was hit in the chest by a stray bullet. This neighbor saw police performing CPR.
The body on the floor, she was injured, and the policeman was trying to save CPR.
The international student from India was rushed to a hospital, but she did not survive. Hamilton Police Chief Frank Bergen calls this a brazen and senseless killing of an innocent young woman.
I would like to extend my condolences to Harsimrat's family. This is a young girl who had her whole life ahead of her and was tragically lost her life because some thugs picked up a gun.
Police say they are reviewing surveillance video. The two vehicles involved in this confrontation took off in opposite directions. The motive for the shooting is under investigation. This is a busy area with commercial businesses and homes on both sides of the street.
So we're still actively trying to obtain video in the area and interviewing witnesses. So we'll have a better idea once we can get through all that video. But we do know that the two cars engage at this intersection. And then during that engagement, shots are fired from the black Mercedes towards the white car. And tragically, one of those rounds went across the street. Another round also went a fair distance over some structures and hit the back window of a home on Allenby. And luckily, those people, they were home and they were only a few feet away from that window. But the bullet did not penetrate all the way into the residence, and they weren't hurt in the incident.
It's extremely unsettling for a community that people who feel that they can just carelessly, recklessly pick up a gun and start shooting. Your word brazen is absolutely accurate. I've had the opportunity to speak with the mayor, and she shares that sentiment. This is not acceptable. This is a time that our conversations are not just a media scrum, but it has to be larger conversations in our community to understand that if you see something, say something.
Police say they have been in contact with the victim's family in India. She also has extended family living in the Toronto area. The victim was in the occupational therapy program at Mohawk. A spokesman for the college said, quote, "We are deeply saddened to learn of the tragic death of one of our students on Thursday evening. Our thoughts are with her family and friends at this difficult time. As a member of the Mohawk College community, we know this loss is being felt by many, and we will do everything we can to support Harsimrat's friends, family, and the broader community." We should let you know this is an ongoing investigation. Police say if you have any information or any kind of video that can be helpful, you're asked to call Hamilton Police or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. Natalie, Andrea, back to you.
Okay, thank you, John. Turning now to a devastating crash in Scarborough. One person is dead after their vehicle smashed into a hydro pole and burst into flames early this morning.
Police say the driver ran two red lights before losing control and going off the road. Speed believed to be a factor in the fiery crash. CP24's Beatrice Faisman has more from the scene.
Just an absolutely horrific scene here on Eglinton, just west of Brimley. Police giving us a bit more information this afternoon, saying the driver behind the wheel of a black BMW sedan ran two red lights and was speeding in the seconds leading up to this crash. We're showing you right now the hydro pole that this vehicle smashed into. It was just before 12:30 in the morning. I mean, you can see just the charred mess at the foot of the hydro pole and then all the debris scattered along the north side of Eglinton here along along the sidewalk at one point, not far from where we're standing. The engine of the vehicle, which was clearly dislodged in the vehicle in the midst of the crash, it was just an absolutely horrible, horrible scene. Police actually saying that the direction that we're showing you, this is eastbound along Eglinton. This is where it all started. Police saying the black BMW driver ran through one red light, first at Danforth Road, then a second red light at Eglinton and Brimley, struck a vehicle in that intersection before the driver lost control, smashed into the pole here, and then the vehicle burst into flames. A few bystanders who just happened to be in the area when this awful crash happened, they tried to help, but I'm told the fire was just too big, it was too great, too overpowering, and there was nothing they could do. By the time first responders got here, unfortunately, the person's life could not be saved. The driver was pronounced dead here at the scene, and as far as first responders know, that was the sole occupant of this BMW sedan. Witnesses I've been talking to this morning here, they are just shocked and dismayed by what happened. And here's a bit of what they shared with me.
Fire responders were here and they were trying to put out the flames. Yeah, I saw them with their hose. It was scary. I mean, talking about it right now too, like my heart's pounding and my eyes are getting like watery. Like it was scary. It was really scary.
The vehicle was towed here from the scene just before noon. A second police flatbed also left with pieces of debris from the vehicle. So it's hard to imagine that a family still at this point doesn't know that their loved one perished in just this tragic, tragic accident here overnight in Scarborough. An awful, awful start to the long weekend. Back to you.
That's CP24's Beatrice Faisman reporting, and a motorcyclist is in hospital after an early morning crash on the 401 in Scarborough. OPP say the crash happened in the eastbound lanes of the highway near Kingston Road around 1:40 this morning. Police say a 29-year-old collided with the rear of a tractor trailer. He was rushed to hospital with serious injuries. Witnesses reported 2 motorcycles speeding on the highway prior to the collision. The second motorcycle rider did not stop after the crash. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
And police are looking for 3 suspects after a vehicle that was allegedly stolen in Etobicoke ended up crashing into an Oakville construction site last night. The crash happened on Lakeshore Road near Bronte Road around 10:45. Police allege that the Toyota RAV4 was carjacked at gunpoint by 4 suspects in the Kipling Avenue and North Queen Street area several hours earlier. When the vehicle crashed in Oakville, all 4 suspects fled on foot. Halton police arrested a female suspect a short distance away, but 3 male suspects are still outstanding. Police have not released their descriptions.
A clubhouse on the grounds of a golf course north of Oshawa has been destroyed by fire. Firefighters were called to Summerlee Golf and Country Club in Port Perry around 1:25 this morning. Town of Scugog officials say the clubhouse was fully involved and the fire spread to a neighboring field, burning approximately 4 acres. No injuries were reported in the blaze. The fire marshal has been notified and the cause of the fire is under investigation. And in Mississauga, crews responded to a blaze at St. Apostle Andrew Romanian Orthodox Church last night. The blaze broke out around 10:30. No one was injured and the cause of the fire has not been determined.
Now to the latest on the measles outbreak in this province as case counts of the highly contagious virus continue to climb. The weekly update from Public Health Ontario shows there have been 925 confirmed or suspected cases since mid-October, when an infected individual arrived from New Brunswick. That is an increase of 109 infections since last week. 69 patients have been hospitalized and 65 of them were not immunized, mostly children. The outbreak is mostly centered around southwestern Ontario, but infection rates have increased elsewhere. The province says it is working with local public health units to ensure everyone is up to date with their vaccines to further limit the spread of measles. Well, with both the French and English language debates behind them, federal party leaders wasted no time in getting back on the campaign trail today.
CTV's Jeremy Charron has the latest.
Visiting a Montreal industrial recycling company this morning, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promised to reverse a key Liberal environmental policy.
Let's be clear, the Liberals' plastics ban is not about the environment. It is about cost and control.
If elected, he pledged to end a ban imposed by the Liberals in 2022 on single-use plastics and stop the Liberals' plan to require all food packaging be more easily recyclable.
We will axe the Liberal food packaging tax to save families $400 on groceries and to save 60,000 Canadians their jobs.
About an hour east of Montreal, in Yamachiche, Quebec, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh rolled out his party's Quebec platform.
It's one of acknowledging Quebec as a nation. We are proud to be allies in supporting that.
Singh pitched a plan for the province that focuses on protecting farmers and the environment and proposed an east-west energy power grid that he says would boost Quebec's energy sector.
It would allow for Canada to have access to low-cost hydroelectric energy. For Quebec, what that would mean is instead of having to be dependent on selling energy only to the States, Quebec could sell energy to the rest of Canada.
Liberal leader Mark Carney was the only one to leave Quebec today, making his way instead to Niagara Falls, where he focused on Canada-U.S. economic tensions, but made no new policy announcement. Instead, promised to present his party's platform tomorrow.
And our task over the next weeks, months, and years is to think big and to act bigger. That's what my government's platform, our strategy, our plan will do.
The latest Nanos polling has the Liberals up 8 points over the Conservatives, but that doesn't yet reflect any impact the debates may have had. That should come Tuesday. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
As Jeremy mentioned, the Liberals regained some ground in the latest Nanos poll to claim 45.4% support. The Conservatives slid points to 37.1%, and the NDP were down as well to 8.3%. The Bloc and Greens saw their support levels grow to 5.6% and 2.9% respectively. The People's Party fell below the 1% mark as the focus remained on the frontrunners.
At the end of December, Liberal support was at 20%. Now it's at 45%. That means that 25% of kind of that Liberal total, right? 25 points out of the 45 were people probably in December that were saying, I'm never voting Liberal. I really don't like what I've seen in the last few years. I don't like Justin Trudeau. These people are currently back with the Liberals. I think for the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre, the question is can they get a few of those people to swing back to the Conservatives to tighten up the race even further?
As for who Canadians would like to see become Prime Minister, Liberal leader Mark Carney held on to his lead but dropped to 48%, while Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre climbed to 33.6%. The NDP's Jagmeet Singh received less than 5% support. These Nanos polls are based on responses from more than 1,300 Canadians and are considered accurate within 2.7 percentage points, 19 times out of 20.
And just a day after the leaders' debate, Canadians have the opportunity to cast their ballot with advanced polls opening today.
While experts say it is too soon to say whether the debate will sway votes, many Canadians were eager to get out and make their voices heard today. As voters across the country cast early ballots in the advanced polls today.
I thought we're feeling good. It's a nice day. Let's do it today.
Many said the sooner they could make their voice heard, the better.
I'm voting for my children's futures. I'm finding life has been a little bit difficult, so I wanted to make sure that I did my part, and as soon as I could.
Buying groceries and making ends meet day to day, it's getting harder for seniors, and I'm a senior.
The cost of living, the motivation for many.
Really to address affordability.
I've got a son who's 30 years old, and right now it's hard for him to buy a house. So I want somebody to address those issues.
Things are changing now because what's happening in the United States, and I think we all have to make our adjustments one way or another.
The U.S. trade war indeed trumping everything else for others.
It's Trump. I think we need a very strong leader to stand up to him.
I really think it's important for us to consider, I guess, actual Canadian sovereignty in this election.
We had to stand up for Canada.
It's somebody who stands up to Trump.
In terms of voting at advanced polls, the numbers have been increasing. In 2019, 27% of people voted in advanced polls, and that number went up in 2021 to 34%. And as we've already talked about, the vote on campus numbers were really good. So maybe that's an indicator. And another one is we see the number of Canadians who are voting from overseas, who live overseas. Those numbers are up.
The advanced polls opening this morning.
I do my own talking points. Thank you very much.
After the only English language debate of the campaign. But whether that broadcast battle moved the needle remains to be seen.
I'll be surprised if we learn 3, 4, 5 days from now that the polls show that something dramatic occurred that fundamentally upsets where this race is headed. And that, therefore, is probably good news for Mark Carney because he's the front runner.
As people consider their votes, I think they need to consider, whether they want 10 more years of similar or the same policies, or whether they feel that it's time for a change. And that's the good thing about elections. Voters will kick tires of the leaders and decide which party they think will best represent the country and lead the country.
4 weeks into the campaign, 4 days of advanced polling have now begun. 4 years of Canada's future on the line. More news in a moment, but first let's go outside for a live look at the city at this hour. It is very warm out there, 20 degrees right now on this cloudy Friday night. Here is a closer look at the current conditions. Starting with the satellite radar, a bit of cloud cover above us right now, a 70% chance of showers changing to 30% chance of showers this evening. Those showers beginning near midnight, risk of a thunderstorm this evening and overnight. The wind southwest, 30 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 50, low 13. Current temperatures across the province, look at those double digits. It's 22 degrees in Hamilton, 20 in London, 21 in Niagara Falls, even toward Northern Ontario, up in Barrie at 16, 14 in Parry Sound. A closer look at the Toronto temperature breakdown here out on the islands. It's 17 and sunny. Out to the west at Pearson, 20 degrees with a little bit more cloud cover. And tonight there is that risk of thunderstorms, but we are staying in the double digits. 14 degrees for the overnight low. The winds getting gusty, 50 kilometers per hour overnight. Andrea.
Thanks, Nat. Multiple vigils were held in Tallahassee, Florida, following yesterday's deadly mass shooting on a university campus.
This community is strong, and unfortunately, we've dealt with a couple of these type of incidents. And this community will rally together, and we will be stronger after this, and we'll be better after this.
A 20-year-old gunman opened fire and killed 2 men on the campus of Florida State University yesterday. At least 5 other victims were hurt. Investigators haven't specified a potential motive, but say the suspect was the son of a sheriff's deputy who used his mother's former service weapon in the shooting.
The top U.S. diplomat indicated today that Washington's patience is running out on efforts to secure a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia.
We're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
Marco Rubio's comments come as Ukrainian officials say a Russian missile attack killed 1 person and injured more than 100 today in the city of Kharkiv. Speaking at an unrelated event, President Trump didn't specify what he would like to see from either side in order for the U.S. to stay involved.
We're going to get it stopped, ideally. Now, if for some reason one of the 2 parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. No, Marco's right in saying it. We want to see it end.
Trump sidestepped a question over whether Russia was playing him, as European leaders say Moscow is slow-walking talks to end its ongoing invasion. The president also didn't say whether the U.S. would keep up military support for Ukraine if he abandons the current push for a peace deal.
Now to the Middle East, where the U.S. is escalating its military campaign on Iran-backed rebels in Yemen. The Houthis say U.S. strikes killed at least 74 people at a fuel terminal on the Red Sea coast. The U.S. military did not confirm that figure, but said it chose that target to cut off a source of fuel for the militant group. Sources in Yemen told Reuters the port has a heavy military presence in addition to being a primary hub for fuel imports. A few hours later, the Houthis fired a projectile at Israel, setting off air raid sirens before it was intercepted. Meanwhile, today, Israeli airstrikes killed at least 17 people across Gaza. Israel says it's keeping up attacks and a blockade of food and aid to pressure Hamas into giving up dozens of Israeli hostages it still holds. The militant group says it would release them in exchange for a full end to the war. Israel says Hamas bears responsibility for launching the conflict on October 7th, 2023, and won't let the group stay in control of Gaza.
Today marks the return of a controversial tourism tax for anyone hoping to visit Venice during its busy season. For the second year in a row, visitors have had to pay a €5 fee to access the famed canal city on high traffic days. The charge will double for those who plan their trip less than 3 days in advance. Officials say the step is necessary as over-tourism is putting Venice's UNESCO World Cultural Heritage status at risk. Opponents say the day tripper fee hasn't done anything to discourage visits. It's in effect most weekends and holidays from today through late July.
Still ahead, we check in with a small business in Whitby that isn't new to buying local amid the calls to ramp up support for Canadian industries.
I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, warmer weather has finally arrived, and that means many people will be starting their spring cleaning this weekend. With so many cleaning products to choose from, how do you know which one is the best fit for the task at hand? I'll have my reports. That's just ahead.
Well, many people will be tackling their spring cleaning this weekend, and one thing's for sure, the right product can make the job much easier.
Or harder. There are so many different cleaners on the market to choose from. But do you really need them all to make your home sparkle and shine? Pat Foran checks out the latest ones on Consumer Alert.
From washing windows to scrubbing countertops, you have many different options when it comes to buying cleaners, but some do work much better than others. Consumer Reports just put them to the test and reveals their top picks for spring cleaning. Over the last year, researchers put dozens of cleaning products to the test in real-life situations.
We were looking to find effective and versatile cleaners that are also gentle on surfaces and that don't contain irritating or harsh ingredients.
If you're looking to streamline your cleaning lineup, Mrs. Meyer's Clean Day Multi-Surface Concentrate is a great choice for many surfaces and messes.
The beauty of choosing a concentrated cleaner is that it can replace nearly all of your other cleaners while offering an efficient way of cutting down on plastic and landfill waste.
A concentrate isn't as convenient for quick everyday cleanup like wiping down kitchen counters. Instead, consider this Mr. Clean Clean Freak multi-purpose cleaner. It handled greasy stovetop oil, sticky maple syrup, and everything in between. For tougher jobs that need extra scrubbing power, testers suggest keeping a powder cleanser on hand. Among 4 tested powders, Bonamy's scratch-free powder cleanser stood out as a safe and effective choice for most surfaces. Sometimes you need more targeted cleaning. This Goo Gone grout and tile cleaner delivered noticeable differences on dirty grout.
Our evaluators commented on the Goo Gone scent because unlike many grout cleaners, it was mild and pleasant.
When it comes to glass, Sprayway Glass Cleaner delivered outstanding results on mirrors and windows. Researchers also found that instead of using paper towels, you can save money and the planet by using good quality washable cotton cloths or microfiber towels. While the right cleaner can make the job much easier, the wrong one could damage surfaces and fabrics, so check labels carefully to make sure the cleaner you choose is safe for the surface you're tackling. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Okay, so that's my favorite sign of spring is spring cleaning.
That's not a favorite sign of mine. Anytime I have to do cleaning is not a favorite sign of mine. But of course, you know, today is Good Friday, and other than the churches being really busy and the gyms, I went to the gym this morning, the nail salons were packed. I guess so many people have today off that I went into one, it's like full. Went to another one, closed. Next one, I begged and they let me in. But it was crazy
Well,
today.
so the pro tip is you do the spring cleaning before you get your nails done. Otherwise, it's just not worth it.
Well, there again, I'll leave it for another day, especially when it's so nice today. 20 degrees. Who wants to clean when it's 20 degrees?
It's nice, though, because you open the windows and then you get the fresh air in. It's just fantastic. But you were right. It is a perfect time to actually open those windows, cleaning or otherwise, because take a look at these temperatures here. 13 degrees in Wyerton, 20 in Toronto, 17 Muskoka, 14 degrees in Trenton. And look at this. It is going to hang on through the overnight hours. 14 degrees overnight in Toronto. That is 10 degrees warmer than seasonal. It'll stay at 15 degrees in Waterloo, 17 in Hamilton, 17 as well in Niagara Falls. No complaints there. When you wake up tomorrow to start your Saturday, for the early risers, there will be showers outside and risk of a thunderstorm. 16 degrees by the 7 o'clock hour. That rain system still holds. 9 o'clock, though, no more risk of a thunderstorm, although it will be windy up to 50 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow's highs staying warm, 20 degrees for Toronto. You can see all of these numbers are well above seasonal, 16 in Waterloo, 15 to the west in Goderich. The forecast radar, you can see the rain overnight. It is clearing into the day tomorrow as we lose the risk of thunderstorms. Sunday does look good. Finally, a look at the week ahead here, 7-day forecast. Saturday, you will see some showers in the morning before it starts to clear. 20 degrees for the high, only 2 for the low. Easter Sunday will be a glorious sunny day, close to seasonal with a high of 12 and a low of 5. Monday, chance of showers there, 40%, high of 10 degrees, low of 6. Same temperature story on Tuesday, which happens to be Earth Day. Wednesday, Thursday, matching days weather-wise there with 16 for the high, mix of sun and cloud, low of 7. And Friday, the rain does return, 13 degrees at a low of 8. Andrea.
Thanks, Natalie. Well, and as we mentioned today is Good Friday, and Christians around the world are hosting processions to mark the day. Here at home, a procession was organized by the St. Francis of Assisi Parish. Yes, this is Toronto, not Jerusalem. Dozens of people made their way through Little Italy around 3 p.m. for the event, which included religious statues, musical bands, and attendees representing different people associated with Christianity. The procession is part of an annual tradition dating back to 1962.
And this was the scene in Jerusalem today. Christian worshipers participated in a procession retracing what they believe was the route that Jesus Christ took to his crucifixion.
And Good Friday marks one of the busiest days for fish and chip shops as Christians mark the day by choosing not to eat meat. St. Andrew's Fish and Chips in Scarborough was one of the hopping spots today as customers lined up for the classic fare. The owners say Good Friday is the busiest day of the year for them, but they were well prepared.
It's by far the busiest day of the year. You know, it takes a lot of work. We've pretty much been prepping for all week for this day. So tomorrow I need a rest and hopefully I'll sleep in.
2 orders of halibut and chips.
Is that your signature order?
Yes.
Is this part of your Good Friday tradition?
Every year.
Is that right? Why do you keep coming back?
Yeah, this is one of the best fish and chips around here.
It's been around for so long and they always get the recipe right. Like, it doesn't change. So, you know, if you're just craving, you'll get the same good food every time.
While St. Andrews was open to hungry customers, several businesses are closed today, including LCBO and beer store locations, banks, government offices, and most grocery stores. Canada Post also isn't delivering today or on Easter Monday, but we're here and happy to be here.
Well, as the trade war with our southern neighbors continues, efforts to buy local are ramping up.
But it's not an entirely new concept. CTV's Carol Charles introduces us to a small restaurant in Whitby that has always stopped close to home.
Tucked away in this small strip plaza, you will find the Springwood Restaurant.
Do the tartare.
Matthew Simpson and Jasmine Lee opened the establishment in 2023. It had been a dream for years.
This is our grass-fed beef tartare.
For the past 10 years, they put the work in honing their skills in high-end restaurants in Toronto. But the plan was always to return home to Whitby and open a restaurant of their own.
We set out that this was the choice that we made for the restaurant. You know, Canadian beer, Canadian wine only proteins and produce sourced within Canada.
Their menu is a reflection of what's available seasonally throughout southern Ontario.
So our spring menu will be April, May, and June. So you can look for things like asparagus, rhubarb, strawberries, the first of the new potatoes. A lot of it really is based on Mother Nature and what's happening with the weather.
They rely on local farmers to provide the goods they serve, tapping into 30 to 50 different small farms in the region.
So it's 70 acres and we use this pasture as well as this one.
Dave Cranenberg of Kendall Hills Farm in Orono supplies chicken and specialty mushrooms to the Springwood Restaurant. His company, Graze and Gather, also coordinates the delivery of produce from over 100 local farms to residents and restaurants.
When I see their ingredients showing up and being kind of
I don't know, treated with that level of enthusiasm and skill, it's special because I know the work the farmers are putting in to grow that food in the way that they grow it, and then to see a chef use it that way, it's a pretty special experience. Whitby's fortunate because I think you've got a chef who's at the top of his game in terms of his culinary skills with a commitment to local food, and so when you eat there, you're experiencing something that you don't get elsewhere.
And it hasn't gone unnoticed. The Springwood is on Open Table's 2024 Top 100 Restaurants in Canada list.
We just continue to get busier and busier, and it's sometimes difficult for people to get reservations, but it's a good problem to have.
Regional Councillor Chris Leahy is also championing the cause to shop and support local.
The owners here are focusing on supporting local businesses, supporting local food chains, and keeping within that 100-mile idea to support the food that they're bringing here at the restaurant. It's absolutely amazing.
While they are grateful for the success and recognition, they say their customers come first.
When you've had a good night and you just know that every guest was doing their little happy dance from eating their good food and loving the music, you go home and you have a high that can take hours to wear off sometimes in terms of getting to bed.
Our tagline for the restaurant is "Come over for dinner," because that's what we want. We're inviting you to our home for dinner.
Carol Charles, CTV News.
Still ahead, counting down to kickoff. Toronto's new professional women's soccer team takes to the pitch tomorrow for its inaugural game in front of a sold-out crowd at BMO Field. Details just ahead. To sports now, and the Blue Jays will look for their third straight win, opening a series with the Seattle Mariners tonight. The Jays are coming off a 3-1 win over the Atlanta Braves Wednesday night to clinch the series with 2 wins. Francis is slated to get the start on the mound. First pitch is set for just after 7 p.m. at the Rogers Centre.
Canada's new professional women's soccer league kicked off in style earlier this week in Vancouver.
And this weekend, the spotlight shifts to Toronto, where a record turnout is expected for the team's home opener on Saturday. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has more on the excitement for the inaugural season reaching a fever pitch.
Let's celebrate this league, these incredible athletes.
A worthy celebration rising from the pitch. Setting the stage for a historic first goal.
Rise up, Vancouver!
And with that, Canada's first professional women's soccer league is up and running. More than 14,000 fans took in the Northern Super League's inaugural game at Vancouver's BC Place.
Super duper fun. So amazing to bring my daughters to this.
A professional league for women on Canadian soil has been years in the making, with co-founder Diana Matheson, a former national soccer star, helping make the decades-long dream a reality.
A lot of us were joking it felt like our wedding day in a lot of ways. But the fact that we did build this from scratch, built a league for women, by women, we're an independent league, that's also now a strength internationally.
That strength comes from those involved in the league, including soccer royalty Christine Sinclair, who's now part owner of Vancouver Rise FC.
This is the time. Women's sports around the world is growing, soccer specifically, and it's just a smart move, and I cannot wait to see where this league goes.
And at its heart, inspiring the next generation of Canadian athletes who now have a women's league to look up to, call their own.
I like that the girls finally have a team in Canada.
The league now sets its sights on BMO Field, where this Saturday afternoon, AFC Toronto will play its first game ever in front of a sold-out crowd against the visiting Montreal Roses FC. The historic game hits the pitch at 4 p.m. Eastern. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
On the ice, the Maple Leafs wrapped up their regular season against Detroit Red Wings last night.
It's back in, tied up by Edmondson in the corner. Drop back, Murmurs a shot that goes wide up the other side. London chance scores!
If you blinked, you missed it. I was out to dinner. I couldn't believe the final score. It was 3-0 when I tuned in. Scott Lawton sealed the 4-3 victory in overtime. Chris Tanev scored with just over a second left in the third period to force the extra frame. The Leafs finished the regular season with a 52-26-4 record, good for first place in the Atlantic Division. Next up, is the Battle of Ontario with the Ottawa Senators in the first round of the playoffs. Game 1 is set for Sunday night at Scotiabank Arena.
Ooh. Still ahead on CTV News, the classic car gets a new lease on life on display at a Calgary diner, thanks to a helping hand from the local community.
This is a young girl who had her whole life ahead of her and was tragically lost her life because some thugs picked up a gun.
Updating our top stories, Hamilton police are investigating a fatal shooting last night. They say a gunman in a black SUV opened fire and hit an innocent bystander, identified as 21-year-old Hesimra Randahara. The international student from India did not survive.
It was scary. I mean, talking about it right now, too, like my heart's pounding.
Eyewitnesses sharing details on some scary moments after a deadly crash in Scarborough early this morning. Just before 12:30 a.m., police say a BMW crashed into a hydro pole and caught on fire on Eglinton near Brimley, with the driver still trapped inside. Investigators believe the vehicle ran 2 red lights before the collision, and speed is likely considered to be a factor.
But we're feeling good. It's a nice day. Let's do it today.
And advanced polling is now underway for the federal election. Canadians are able to cast their ballots until 9 p.m. tonight, and then once again tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. This follows last night's English language leaders debate. Parties were back on the campaign trail today, making their cases to voters ahead of Election Day on April 28th. Experts say soaring chocolate prices will likely take a bite out of your wallet this Easter holiday. Cocoa crops in key exporting countries have been hit hard by factors including extreme weather. The cost per ton is down from highs seen last year, but it's still hovering around $8,000 US. That's quadruple what it was in 2022. Statistics Canada says confectionery prices are up 5.7% over year in March, outpacing overall inflation.
An iconic landmark in Calgary that was vandalized by graffiti is getting a new lease on life.
When the Cadillac convertible that sits atop a Calgary diner was damaged, a group of people jumped into action to get it refurbished. CTV's Mark Villani reports.
This car is going back to where it always belonged, on the rooftop of Angels Drive-In, a classic vehicle bringing back a vintage feel to a staple of the Bowness community.
It was beautiful. It's an icon.
Brooke Wenzel has worked at the diner since she was just 7 years old. The 1963 Cadillac convertible was always a conversation piece with her customers.
It's, you know, always that place with the red car on the roof. So having it come back up is going to be iconic again.
But back in February, it was vandalized with graffiti. The team at CJ92 broke the news on its morning show.
We had so many rockaholics putting their hand up, wanting to help. And when it came time to be like, hey guys, like, what do we owe you? Everybody wanted to do it just from the goodness of their own heart.
So the team at Legacy Speed and Body in Strathmore stepped up. 15 employees went to work, bringing back the car's shine along with its original Matador red factory color.
So we actually went a little bit overboard, took all the old filler out, replaced it with new filler, and put a nice shiny paint job on it.
It's going to mean a lot to all the guys at the shop. Just all the hard work that we put into, it's just going to be more rewarding just to drive by and see it every day.
Stonewall Foundations also helped lift the car free of charge. Angels felt like a second home to the company's owner.
Would religiously come to Angels in the morning for coffee for years, for as long as I can remember. It's overwhelming, and it just shows how much the community supports this.
The car's original owner, Al Goman, was also overwhelmed. He once outraced an airplane with the Cadillac on the tarmac of the Springbank Airport.
For what they've done to it, it's pretty astonishing, really. So it really, really makes me happy.
A happy moment, all thanks to the kindness of Calgarians.
That's what the Bowness community is. As soon as anything happens, there's always people stepping up.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Crowds are once again making their way to the Southern California desert for weekend 2 of the Coachella Music Festival. Lady Gaga is set to take the stage once again as the Friday night headliner, followed by a repeat performance tomorrow by Green Day, and then the return of Post Malone for Sunday. They are just part of the long list of music stars putting on a show at the event, including Charlie XCX, Missy Elliott, Benson Boone, and many others. A family-friendly drama recently returned to the small screen.
When Hope Calls is a quintessential Canadian show starring a couple of Canucks set in a small town, and yes, there are Mounties. As an actor, can there be anything more Canadian than portraying a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police?
It's a dream come true. I've always wanted to play a role like this, and to be able to do it in my home province, and to be able to be a part of a team that is just so amazing and so Canadian.
Toronto's Christopher Russell is Mountie Fearless Fletcher in When Hope Calls.
He's so used to tracking down the worst of the worst, so he's on high alert looking for trouble, but instead he finds community, which his transient job had left him without.
Russell co-stars with Montreal's Cindy Busby. It is set in the small fictitious Canadian town of Brookfield in 1918. She's a lawyer seeking lost family.
She's looking for community, she's looking for family, she's looking for belonging. She's a really strong woman at a time where, she's a lawyer from San Francisco, unmarried, and just looking to connect
and love.
And she finds exactly what she's looking for in Brookfield and so much more, along with this challenging character of Mountie Fletcher that just might be the thing she needed most, but she didn't know that she needed. But he also kind of drives her crazy too, which is part of the reason why she kind of likes him too.
The two actors have a long history on screen together with 4 Hallmark movies. Russell says working with Busby, he feels safe to fail, and the fans love them together.
I didn't realize the extent to which they like us together until I went to Christmas Con for the first time just this past December, and the amount of people that came up to see me to talk about Cindy.
By the way, it's the same thing to me. Chris Russell, ...
The make-believe town of Brookfield is a constructed set in the town of Powassan near North Bay.
Getting to shoot in Canada is always so incredible, and getting to shoot in a place like Powassan really makes you feel like you're in Brookfield. It's, you are in rural Canada, you are in a field, on farmland, where they created this beautiful set and this standing set that looks like you've just been taken out of 2025 and plopped into 1920.
When Hope Calls Season 2 is available on Super Channel Heart and Home on Sundays at 8 p.m.
It's forever.
Coming up, a new discovery that's got a group of scientists excited about the possibility of alien life beyond our solar system.
And finally tonight, we leave you with a story from out of this world.
Wah, wah. Scientists say they have found the strongest evidence yet of life beyond Earth. CTV's Andrew Johnson has more on the potentially landmark discovery.
An alien planet outside our solar system that may be teeming with microbial life. It's got scientists pretty excited.
It is completely game-changing for science and transforming our understanding of the universe.
They made the discovery using the James Webb Space Telescope based on what it detected in the planet's atmosphere.
They've taken this measurement over and over and over, and their calculations show that the atmosphere of this planet seems to have the chemicals in it, dimethyl sulfide or dimethyl disulfide, that on Earth are only ever made by living things. We don't know of any geological process that can make those other than life.
The planet orbits a red dwarf star that is smaller and less bright than our sun, 124 light years from Earth, trillions and trillions of kilometers away.
We believe that there very likely are places out there where things are walking around, but you can't see them from this far away. So what we look for instead are the chemical signatures of life.
The findings still need to be confirmed, but the breakthrough could lead to the detection of actual alien life within just a few years.
What we really want is to look through a telescope and see a flying saucer with aliens in it waving back at us, and for them to say, hey, it's us, and us to say, oh, good, we finally found you, and then we have a conversation. That's That's the dream, right? We're not getting that anytime soon.
No flying saucers yet, but the indication of life on this ocean world many worlds away is potentially a big step forward in figuring out if we've got company in the cosmos. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
All right, and before we go, let's take a live look outside and some out-of-this-world temperatures. It's 20 degrees right now in the city, partly cloudy. We'll take a look at the map across Ontario, 17 in Peterborough, very warm in Hamilton as well at 22, 20 degrees in London. Tomorrow, if you're doing any traveling for this Easter long weekend, the morning might be on the messier side weather-wise. Chance of showers, 18 degrees, pretty windy at that point. By early afternoon, the chance of showers continues. But we will see a little bit of sun there and 20 degrees for the temperature in the afternoon. By the dinner hour, a nicer drive, 6 p.m. looking at a sun-cloud mix. Here's one final look at the 7-day forecast. And what is to note here, that little hopping Easter bunny, 12 degrees and beautiful sunshine on Easter Sunday. Showers after that and then back to a sun cloud mix for the rest of the week ahead. Andrea.
So I guess the chocolate won't melt. 12 degrees is probably going to be okay.
There you go.
Well, be sure to join us tonight at 11 for the CTV National News with Heather Butts, followed by our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. Happy Good Friday and have a good night. I'm Andrea Case.
I'm Natalie Johnson.
Good night.